It was a different kind of Passover meal, to say the least. I remember right when I sat down, Philip leaned over to me and he whispers, "Hey Thomas, I feel like something special is going to happen tonight." I looked at him and I said, I doubt it. I was wrong. Jesus got up from the table. He grabbed a basin of water and a towel. I remember thinking to myself, what's Jesus doing with the foot water? I doubt he's going to wash somebody's feet. I was wrong. Jesus knelt down and began to wash Bartholomew's feet. Bart just sat there. He didn't say anything. He didn't move. None of us did. Then Jesus finished and went on to James and Andrew and the rest of us. I remember thinking to myself, this is so strange yet so wonderful. I doubt anybody's going to say anything right now. Well, I was wrong. You want to know who broke the silence? Peter.
There was just no way I was going to let Jesus Christ, the Son of God, wash my feet. So I looked at Jesus, and that's exactly what I said to him. I said, Jesus, you're not going to wash my feet. But then he just looks at me in that way that only he can and says, Peter, if I can't wash your feet, then you can't have anything to do with me. And ouch, I'm not going to lie, that hurt. So I changed my mind. I said, Jesus, wash my feet, wash my hands, wash whatever part of me you have to. But then he just laughs a bit and says, Peter, your feet will be just fine. It's amazing, isn't it? In the middle of doing something as simple as just washing our feet, he taught all of us servanthood.
Then Jesus took some bread and some wine. He blessed it and served it to us. He called it a new covenant in his blood. And then he said, tonight, all of you will lose faith in me. I remember thinking right then, lose faith in you? Never. But I didn't say anything. I just sat there.
I had to say something. I looked at him right in his eyes and I said, Jesus, I love you. Even if everyone else betrays you, even if every other person loses faith, I won't. And then he looks at me sadly and he says, Peter, you'll deny me 3 times before the morning even begins. I didn't have anything to say to that, and before I knew it, we were all on our way to the garden.
Once we got to the garden, things just got crazy. Jesus asked Peter, James, and myself to go a little bit further into the garden to pray with him. And we did. We tried. We kept falling asleep. Jesus literally had to keep on waking us up. I remember one time he said, the spirit is willing, but the flesh, it's weak. That's true. It's all a blur. But to think, all this got started because of Judas. Did he really think what he was doing was right?
There he is. He's the one you want. The one over there praying by himself. Now, the others, they'll try to come up and make some sort of scene. The one that I kiss on the cheek, that's the one you want. Now, 30 pieces of silver for this, right? 30 pieces. That's what we agreed upon. Now remember, don't worry about the others. The one that I kiss on the cheek, that's the one you want.
A kiss? Judas portrays Jesus with a kiss of a friend. Things got crazy again. Peter walks over, grabs his sword, and cuts this dude's ear off. Like, what the heck, Peter? Jesus walks over, grabs the ear, and just puts it right back in this guy's head, as if nothing ever happened. This is crazy.
What have I done? What have I done? How could I be so stupid as to think? I've killed him. I killed Jesus. I crucified Jesus.
I crucified him. That was what the crowd wanted, so that's what the crowd got. Personally, I don't think that man did anything to deserve that, but I was just a soldier doing my job. I loved that job. Every time I nailed somebody to a tree, I felt like I was just administering justice.
Makes no sense. There I was in that jail cell, rotting for stealing, murdering, you name it, and I had done it. I knew the next time I stepped foot outside that jail cell, that was it. So the guards, they came and got me, and they put me next to this man who had been beaten to a pulp. Governor Pilate started asking the crowd, which one of these men do you want me to set free? I mean, it was obvious. They were going to say, let Jesus go, and I was going to tell them where they could go. And then they started chanting, Barabbas! I mean, they were saying my name. They kept saying my name over and over again. So the guards, they shoved me into the crowd, and then they took this Jesus off to Golgotha. One minute I was a man marked for death, the next minute I was a free man. Made no sense. So I followed him all the way to Golgotha.
I was stationed in Golgotha that day. We had just finished raising the second criminal when they brought him to us. I'll never forget the way he looked. He had been beaten, spit on, whipped. He was hideous. I mean, unrecognizable as a man. What was left of his clothes were stripped off of him, and he was thrown down on the cross, and that's when I went to work. See, generally, when you crucify a man, that first hand is the hardest, and they struggle and try to get free, but you would have two soldiers hold him down on either side. Jesus, he didn't fight. I figured he was just exhausted. I'll never forget. He looked at me, and then he looked at us, and he said, Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do. And he forgave me.
Forgive them. He said, forgive them. Who is he? Forgive? It should have been me up there. I was the one who was supposed to be hanging on that cross. I looked up, and I knew he had taken my place. And I remember he took this deep, agonizing breath, and he said, it is finished. Then he died.
Surely this man